What's up, guys? It's Queen Malicious here, and today I'm going to be covering some stuff on my YouTube channel that I have not yet seemed to touch base with you guys about, and that's how to be a better Call of Duty player. And if you guys follow these tips, this rough draft, this outline that I'm about to give to you guys, I guarantee 100% that it will help you play COD better, help you be a better player, and up your KD. Now, I'm not the best Call of Duty player out there, I'm no pro player, but I'm pretty decent on the sticks, and unfortunately, I do not always practice what I preach. Now, I'm going to be touching base with you guys on 4 key points. I'm not going to probably be able to cover everything in this video, but I am going to give you some little advice. So, number 1, you're going to want to know when to play passively or aggressively. And what I mean by that is you're going to want to know by what weapon you're using is when to rush your opponent and when to kind of hang back and camp it out a little bit. Number 2, you're going to need to know your surroundings. Number 3, know your opponent and their playing style. And number 4, know your weapon and your class. Now, getting back to the basics with number 1, know when to play passively or aggressively. And now all these tips kind of go hand in hand. So, you're going to want to know when to hang back in camp and when to rush your opponent. Now, if you're playing against a team who's mostly using ARs and you're choosing an SMG class, you're most likely not going to want to rush in to any gunfights on a very open map. You're going to want to know their spawn, maybe take a different route off to the side and try to flank them, even maybe wrap around and flank them from behind, or kind of try and draw them into close quarters since they are using ARs, and kind of win that gunfight with your SMG in a close quarters gunfight. Now, what I mean by that, kind of let your opponent know where you're at. If they have a UAV, kind of make a couple shots, let them know, kind of maybe draw them in, kind of maybe peek out a corner, but don't get killed, and kind of suck them into where you are. Now, when you know that they're about to rush you, when you know they're about to come in, you need to be prepared to get into that gunfight. Be aiming down at a doorway or something like that when you know. Now, don't just sit in a corner and camp, though. Be moving around. Definitely be moving around. You just don't want to sit there because that leaves you sitting there like a sitting duck, and you don't want to get caught in the crosshairs. So kind of be moving around, but keep the doorways visible. Kind of keep checking every few seconds, like, you know, and get ready to get into your gun battle. Now, if you're playing with the AR, you're probably going to want to, you know, play a little bit more passively also, you know, and wait for them to come to you. Now, if you want to rush your opponent, you're going to have to be ready to get into a gunfight, and also possibly even be getting into multiple gunfights if you plan on rushing. So definitely, if you're going to rush, just make sure that you have cover. Just don't, you know, rush into an open doorway and say, hey, you know, please shoot me. So you're going to want to be rushing, but right as before you know you're going to get into that gunfight, try to take some cover, be pre-aimed, and start firing as soon as you aim down your sights and you have that opponent locked on target. Also, try to rush in, take cover, and pre-aim when you know that opponent's going to be there, especially if you have a UAV out. Now, if you've been playing a little bit more aggressively and you're about to get your store streaks, maybe it's the time to maybe hang back a little bit and just kind of feel them out so you can get those extra points locked in and get your store streaks down. So, if you're not that great of an aggressive player, maybe it's best for you to choose a class where you can kind of hang back a little bit and feel out your opponent a little bit more until you get your score streaks. And then once you get your score streaks, start playing a little bit more aggressively. Now, number 2, know your surroundings. This is key. You're going to want to know the map. You know, you're going to want to know the spawns and stuff like that, because this is all going to, you know, help generate an idea of, you're going to want to know where your opponent's coming from. You're going to want to know where the best places are to take cover. You just don't want to be wandering around lost and not knowing where your opponent is going to be. Because one of the keys into winning gunfights is also not only having good accuracy, but being able to predict spawns and knowing when the spawn is going to flip. Now, number 3. Know your opponent. Know your opponent's playing style. Feel them out about the first minute of the match. Know whether they're playing passively or aggressively, if they're rushing or they're camping. Now, if they're camping, you're probably going to want to know how to flank their camping spot, how to flank them and win that gun battle. If they're playing passively, you know, you're probably not just going to want to rush in there because they are most likely going to be camping. And you're probably going to play just a little bit more aggressively, but not too aggressively, because it's really easy to get picked off by campers, so you're going to want to flank them. Now, also, if they're playing aggressively, you're probably... I mean, if you have the confidence, just rush in there and take them out if you can. But if not, you're probably going to want to play a little bit more passively if they're playing aggressively, and kind of maybe hang back and pull out an AR and kind of try and pick them off, or pick them off even with the SMG. Just, I mean, all these things kind of go hand in hand together. Know your map, know where to take cover, know when they're going to be rushing you, and know what kind of weapon they're using so you can choose your class adequately. Now, number 4, know your weapon and know your class. You're going to want to know the weapon that you are using. You're going to want to know how that weapon feels. You're going to want to choose the attachments properly, which I will probably go over in another video. But just to kind of give you guys, you know, a kind of rough draft on what I'm talking about, basically, you know, if you're using an SMG, like for instance, say the Vesper, you're most likely not going to want to use rapid fire on that weapon because the fire rate is already so high, so it's kind of going to throw off your accuracy. For instance, in this video, I'm using the FFAR and the fire rate is already high on this weapon, so I would not advise to put rapid fire on it. Now, also, you want to be comfortable with the class you are using and know that you feel comfortable using that weapon. And also, for instance, let's say you're using an AR and you want to hang back, or even SMG and hang back a little bit, you're most likely going to want to put a long barrel on that gun. So anyways, this is going to about sum it up for this video. In my next video, I hope to cover with you guys a little bit more and get more into detail. But I hope these tips help you out just a little bit, and I'll catch you guys next time.